Hi, welcome to What's the Word? I'm your host, Jaime McFaden, and I'm so excited to have you here. This podcast is about all things wellness. Each week, we will focus on a word of the day, and I interview some of the most inspirational people I know and share that inspiration with you. Join me, let's learn together on What's the Word.
This is the place where I belong.
Hi, I'm Jaime McFaden, and welcome to What's the Word? This podcast is about all things wellness. Each week, we focus on a word of the day, and I interview the most inspirational people I know and share that inspiration with you. Today is a very special day. Our word today is miracle, which by definition means a surprising and welcome event that is not explicable by nature or scientific laws and is therefore considered to be the work of a divine agency. And who better to be today here with us to talk about miracles other than Mr. Miracle Mentality himself? Tim Storey, you are such an incredible human being as an acclaimed author, speaker, life coach, helping people create the future they desire. You have worked with the best of the best, and everyone globally throughout the world knows you for many good reasons. So I want to welcome you. I am so honored to have you here with us today to share your story, to talk about your incredible book that I have been reading and love. How are you doing today?
What an introduction. I was like, go on.
And he's gorgeous.
I'm feeling even more miraculous as you speak.
Love it.
Number one, I love you.
I love you too.
Getting ready for this interview, I've been studying you like even more the last 3 days. And I'm loving your energy, what you're doing, how you're changing lives, how you're living life. Like you really enjoy living, right?
I do. I really feel every moment we have is actually a gift. And I have to say, I have been reading The Miracle Mentality. I ordered it and I had to do Audible because I enjoy listening to the sound of your voice. So I love that it's you reading it. And, you know, from the moment that we got into the intro and you mentioned your childhood at 8 years old going into Disneyland and being on that ride that we all know so well, it's a small world, and seeing the colors and the imagery. And I looked at my 4-year-old daughter and I thought, this is the answer. I get it. So I just have to say, I'm so excited to have you here today. And I want to chat about your book, and I want to chat about right now, what does a miracle mean to you?
So a miracle means to me very similar to the explanation that you gave about what a miracle is. It's something uncommon, not normal, extraordinary, supernatural. Mm-hmm. And I believe that all of us have a miracle mentality that's in our DNA. I really believe that. And that's why you're talking about with your 4-year-old daughter, she is imagining things. She may have even had like imaginary friends at one time.
She still does, yeah.
Yeah. If you take her to any toy store, she believes that you can buy anything that's there. Because when you're little, you have this innocence about you. Mm-hmm. And in the book, I talk a lot about how we've lost our innocence at times just because of the challenges that we've all had in life. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, we start with a shout. And then if we're not careful, then life can knock the shout out of us. So it's how to get your shout back.
How do we get our shout back? I love that. So for anyone that's listening right now, and just so you know, people that hang out with me are typically either coming out of a tough time or entering a new life chapter. And especially within this last year and a half, there's been, between the pandemic, between politics and everything in between, a lot of added stress. So what would you say to someone that's listening right now about miracles and just that, about pulling that out? How can we tap into that?
So let's break it down and make it easier to understand. So I think that there are categories of life. There's what I call the mundane. The mundane is the regular, the things we have to do, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So my two kids are older. You have just one, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Your daughter,
Mm-hmm.
she's only 4. So, when you're a parent, you do mundane things.
Right.
Okay. So whether it's cleaning up, doing dishes, throwing the trash, that's the mundane sides of life.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not careful, if you don't master your mundane, then your mundane turns into the messy parts of life, where life starts to get messy and disheveled and disorganized, and you're everywhere at once. And if you don't deal with your messy, then you don't really have time for the magical. Watch how we work this. So you have the mundane, you have the messy, but the messy can escalate and go into what I call the madness. The madness is a chaotic. I think COVID-19 turned people who thought their life was tough enough at mundane into madness.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do? What's going to happen? What's it like to now homeschool my kids? What about my job? What about my health? A lot of madness.
Right.
So when you have messy and madness, forget the magical. You just threw that aside, and now you're like holding on for dear life, just trying to get through.
Right.
So what I personally believe is that you can still make room for the magical or the miracle, even in the midst of the madness. You truly can. You can trigger yourself back into the state of mind that your 4-year-old daughter's in.
Right. So now, a question to you specifically, because I agree with that 100%. And for me, I do it through daily dance parties where I crank up, a song, and for 3 minutes, my daughter and I just go ham.
And you can dance.
Right.
I've seen it. I was wondering about that, but we'll get into that in a private conversation.
Oh, I love it.
I said she's definitely been around people who look like me.
So now, with that, what do you do in moments if you ever get there in the mess? Do you ever have those moments where you're pulling yourself out of that? What do you do?
I trigger myself every single day. So I triggered myself this morning already. So I have this tradition that I do. I do meditation, I do prayers, and I do positive readings that I do to center myself. But then I trigger myself through music when I'm getting ready. Okay. So either Stevie Wonder, the Jackson 5. Today I was listening to Smokey Robinson. And what that does to me, that takes me back to when I was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I trigger myself. So there's ways to trigger yourself. Like even like on TV, they have this thing called TV Land.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back and watch shows that we grew up on. You can go to the Partridge Family, the Brady Bunch. I do it. I trigger myself.
Mm-hmm.
I have certain movies that I like Sleepless in Seattle. I probably have seen Sleepless in Seattle like 32 times. And I might see it 33. You know what? It triggers me. It triggers me to a really cool place. So I trigger myself every single day to go back to the place of innocence.
Wow. I love that. So were you jamming out to some tunes before we got on this call?
I didn't need to for you because I knew that your energy was so good. I was just going to ride off your wave.
Oh, I love it so much. And so what would you say is the greatest miracle that you've experienced in your own lifetime up until this point, this moment?
I think that, one of the greatest miracles was I was just minding my own business as a humanitarian, speaking all over the world. My doctorate is in world religion. And I went to so many years of school that while I was in school, I was studying a lot on the subject of crisis, trauma, therapy. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a master's degree in that, but I could have had I decided to. So my doctorate was in world religion. So I was just minding my business as a humanitarian. I've been to 75 countries in the world now doing that. And I was invited by a very famous lady in this interview. I will not give her name, but very famous actress. And she was married to a very famous actor. And she invited me to her house to share about inspiration. And I was like super, super young. I was like 29, 30 years of age. But it was like 9 legends of Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like this divine door that just went like, it just swung open. Because you don't just become friends with those 9 people.
Right.
They're giants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they started to ask me to help their kids, to help their lives, to help their cousins, their friends. And then this door into Beverly Hills opened. And then 2 years later, I opened up my own office on Cannon Drive in Beverly Hills. And then I became known as a life coach to the stars. But it was through that one door, this lady invited me to this amazing house in Bel Air and said, would you like to have this little inspirational meeting that just blew my life wide open?
Wow, that is incredible, and thank you for sharing that. And in the chats that we've had on Clubhouse and the little times that you and I have spoken before this here and there, you just have such a gift and you have such an incredible way of someone like myself, where I come from the fitness industry, working. Yeah, okay, I work with the high ups in that world, but you and I may have not connected had it not been, in my opinion, for a divine intervention. And for that is a miracle to me. And with that being said, you talk and speak so highly about mentorship, and you mentor so many people. So is that something that stemmed from a time like that, where you had
Yes,
people who
no doubt
opened that
about it.
door?
So if you don't mind, I'll walk us through something real quick.
Please.
Is that I think sometimes when you get from that mundane to the messy to the mad, is that you have to go through these steps. And the steps that I say are, number one, you have to become awake.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at times in your life where you felt like you were sleepwalking, or even being in relationships that were sleepwalking in, and then we wake up. So you become awake. And the second thing you do is you need to take inventory, but true inventory, like, how am I? Like, really, how am I? Not just the things I tell my friends or my family,
Right.
but how am I? So number one, you become awake. Number two, you take inventory. And then here's the mentoring part. Number three, you have to partner with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, in the midst of a pandemic, you don't want to partner down or even horizontal. You need to partner up.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get around people that have a miracle mindset,
Mm-hmm.
who are thinking supernatural thoughts, that are seeing beyond a pandemic, beyond masks, beyond
Right.
quarantine, beyond the world is dying and going nowhere. No,
Right.
you got to partner with power. And that's where you and I come in. And that's why both of us are as busy as we've ever been, because the world is looking to be mentored, tutored, instructed, and being
Mm-hmm.
pulled up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in my field alone, the average woman has gained in the last year approximately 25 pounds, and I think it's more for men. And obviously, the depression, the suicide, the addiction, all of the other things surrounding it have just skyrocketed. And so I couldn't agree with you more on that, which is why I think your book couldn't have come out at a more perfect time.
Thank you. Because it was strange, because I've been working on this book for 2 years, and it was before the pandemic. And I remember HarperCollins and all of us were like going like, oh man, it's bad timing, because my strength is on a stage.
Right.
So, I speak, as you know, from 2,000 to 80,000, truly
Right.
80,000 at one time. And so we had to postpone or cancel 34 major conferences that Tim Storey was invited to. So that was a big thing of like, whoa. But, actually, I think the book is selling better because of it is essential reading.
Yes.
It is essential because I'm
It is.
teaching you and giving you the blueprint of, doggone it, don't get stuck in an almost life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you the step-by-step process how to do it. It's not just pie in the sky theology thinking, but I talk to you about how to become a miracle thinker in your parenting, in your job, in your finances, in your personal life, in your health and nutrition. So I break down all areas, even have a little workbook in there. So it's essential, and that's why it's working.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I mean, like I said, I immediately put it on Audible because I love your voice. And I thought, okay, let me hear his voice. And just within the first 2 chapters, I'm like, yes. And I'm a motivated individual, thankfully. At the same time, I felt 10 times more motivated, even motivated to reach out to you myself and to say that. So, and with that being said, I love to hear, what's your kind of morning routine like? Do you have a morning routine?
100%.
Yeah.
So for me is I give a lot. Like right now, I don't feel like I'm giving because your energy is so good. I'm not kidding. It's synergy. I'm getting synergy from you. But some people that I'm working with, I'm giving and I'm just giving and giving and giving. And when you deal in the world that I do with predominantly with entertainers, there's a lot of chaos going on. I'm trying to keep them off TMZ.
Stay home tonight.
Like Harvey Levin has my number and he's like, Tim, did this guy really do this? Okay, so anyway. My morning routine is I like showers for some reason. I'm a clean freak, so I shower and then I wake up. I wake up super early though. I wake up at 5 in the morning.
Me too. Woohoo for 5.
So then I do what I was telling you earlier. I do like a devotion. I study. I'm a spiritual guy, so I like to read the Psalms and the Proverbs. Then I like meditate. Then I do this time of projection where I begin to see the day the way I think it should go. I see things, and then I begin to see the week. I project it. It's amazing how that does work for me.
Yeah.
And so then I go from that state into this thing that I talk about triggering myself. So as I am now getting ready to put the clothes on that I need for the day, I'm triggering myself through music. And the music really does do something to me. I'm telling you, it really works for me.
Same. It's magical.
and then I'm going to give you a baseball metaphor.
Okay.
And here's what I do. A lot of people keep thinking about like the home run. Oh my God, I hit a home run. Okay.
Right.
They may not call it a home run, but they're looking for something grand. Not me. I want to hit a single, then another single, another single. I'm Mr. Base Hit. So that's how I start my day. I just hit base hits.
Right.
And then I build my confidence. And then I got to have confidence to call Oprah and ask her for a favor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You don't just call Oprah at 8 in the morning. You build your confidence and then you call her.
Yeah, I'm like,
well, she's my great friend, but I got to build my confidence. I need 3 singles before I call her. So that's a real morning routine for me that works. Hit a single, hit a single, hit a single. Build your confidence, build your confidence, build your confidence. Don't just look at a bunch of negative emails. Don't look at a bunch of negative texts. Don't even scroll everybody's Instagram because it's really going to just irritate you. No, hit a single, hit a single, hit a single, and build your faith and starve your doubts.
Oh, build your faith and starve your doubts. Boom! He swings, he swings, he hits. He made it to first base, now second. So that reminds me about consistency and being able to have these little mini victories that we can celebrate instead of like making the big New Year's resolution to do everything all at once, maybe just little bits at a time. So I love that you brought that up because it's just so true. And if
enjoying your animation, I didn't know. Now, were you an actor or you just act for free?
So I just have a 4-year-old. No, I have done some little stuff here and there way back when, and a lot of voiceover. So the
voiceover work I saw that.
Yeah.
And I could see that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Something very cool. I'm working on a cartoon right now with Randy Jackson from American Idol.
Wow.
And it's so good, it's going to work. So we have a lot of people wanting it.
Yeah.
But I love doing voices too. So I love that animated side of you. And I'm going to tell you something about the word life. The word life in the Greek is the word zoe. And the word zoe, life, actually means a life with animation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice that when you're tired, you're fatigued, when you're going through stuff, when things are messy and mad, we lose our animation.
Mm-hmm.
So thank goodness for what you've been through and I've been through. We're so animated.
Yeah. And I think that's a great segue into, well, two things. One, I have a turtle here that she's like my Zen, and her name is Zoe, and I'm Greek, and that's where the name came from. So I love that you brought that up and tapped into that. Yay. Love that. And with that, you had just said right now, talking about life and being able to be animated even through the struggles. I just recently had a discussion with a lot of different people. I think there was, 2,000 people in the room. And the discussion was the struggle. And it's like, how do we parallel park when we're on the struggle bus? How do we navigate through that? And it was fascinating to hear how many people just feel stuck when they're there.
Yes.
And so what would you say to anyone that's listening right now that might be going, oh, yeah, I'm riding that struggle wave. I don't know if it's just going to crash me or what. How do I get animated? Because I think that that's a tough thing. People ask me all the time. How do you stay so joyful when the world's crumbling?
I missed her steps because you got to understand that the people I coach, most people know.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make sure that they don't know what happened to them. Does that make sense? So,
right.
So when they think that they've heard about, oh my God, so-and-so went through this, there's 27 more entertainers that they will never know what they went through because we kept it to ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm Mr. Steps. And so if somebody is having a setback, I would say I'd be the person that most would come through in the entertainment business. It's not by accident because I'm a master at this. Don't ask me to cook. I'm not that great. I cannot fix your refrigerator.
Oh man.
But setback to come back, I'm a master. Now watch how easy this is. Okay, so when you're in a setback, to set something means to fix it, to lock it, to solidify it. You're now in a setback. Most people sit in the setback. Most people settle in the setback. Now, why do they settle? They settle because they're almost afraid to get their hopes up again, their expectations up again. Okay.
Right.
Because they've been disappointed so many damn times. They're like, I'd rather just live in the land of okay. Powerful stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
But here's where Tim Storey shakes them up. I say, you think your life's kicked your butt now? Wait till what happens next if you don't rise up. Because that's the truth. Because watch this, it's so powerful. If you don't do something with life, life will do something with you.
Yes.
No, you cannot just sit in your setback and go, I'm good. No, it'll kick your butt.
Yeah.
No, life, if you don't do something with life, life will do something with you. So you cannot sit, you cannot set and settle in that setback. And then the next thing that people do, some people cement themselves in a setback.
Yeah.
So I was talking to this guy on this airplane on American Airlines in first class. We were talking, he was bragging about how he owned half of Dallas. And I said to him, are you married or are you single? And he said, I'm divorced. I said, no, are you married or are you single? He said, I'm divorced. I said, because he liked me already. I said, no, it's a 2-category question.
Right.
Married or single? He goes, I'm divorced. I said, how long ago? Watch this. He said, 22 years ago. I go, so why are you calling yourself divorced? Why are you labeling yourself of something that happened 22 years ago? How powerful is this? So when the setback hits, don't sit, don't settle, don't cement yourself in it. So what do I have to do? Okay, this is so easy. Watch. You sit and you get trained again. You sit, you get educated. Okay? If I was not good in relationships, get better. If I messed up in finances, get better. If I had health problems, get the right help. Problems with the mindset, get help. Isn't this good?
Yeah.
So you sit and you learn. Then you stand in what you learned. You just sit, stand. That's all I want you to do. Okay, sit and stand. So
Everybody listening, sit and stand. It's that easy.
that's it. Yeah. So a lot of managers will come to me and go like, fix him. He's got to be ready by the movie. And I go like, slow down. The guy has sucked for 30 years. It's going to take me more than a week. Watch. So you sit, then you stand, and then you walk. Okay. You're into physical training. Just walk. Just every day, walk it out. There's a rap song. East Side, walk it out. West Side, walk it out. Walk it out. So guys, everybody watching, you could do that. You sit, you learn. You stand in what you learn, and you walk out the principles in what you've been learning. And then once you start walking, all of a sudden you go, whoa, I got energy. And you start to run. Running is passion.
Ooh.
So you start to feel your passion again.
Yeah.
See, that's what I see in your eyes.
Yeah.
Your eyes. It's in your eyes. Look, it's in your eyes. Doggone it. It's in your face. You're a runner.
Oh.
You sit, you stand, you walk, you run. And then right when you think you're done, like, oh my gosh, I'm running. Then watch. Boom. You soar. Look at me.
Wow.
I'm a soarer. I soar.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Look at me. Look at me.
I see you. Can I join you? I want to be on your flock.
You can.
I'm coming with you.
And bring the turtle. Bring Zoe.
I'm bringing Zoe. I'm bringing Sophia. I'm bringing the dog. It's a party. Where are we soaring to? Are we going to Greece? Let's go.
Exactly. But how powerful. You sit, you stand, you walk, you run, you soar. Anybody can do that.
Yeah. Well, and I have to bring up too, because for anyone that doesn't actually know your story, the thing that really got me hooked to you immediately was not only that our birthdays are like 2 days apart, but it's that we both lost our fathers and family members at a very young age, and at one point felt like it crushed our souls and our spirit, and then had to sit with it and learn and grow and stand and walk and run, and here we are.
Yeah, no. So thanks for bringing that up, because it's so real that a lot of people that see your animation or my animation, they're like, oh, that's just in their DNA. It's just the way they are. No. Some days I wake up and I don't feel good. I feel lost. I feel grieving, because out of my 7 family members, we had 7 in a 2-bedroom apartment in Compton to start with. Wow. Out of the 7, we have lost 3 of them. So 3 people have died. My father passed away, my brother passed away, and my sister passed away. Now, some days I wake up and I'm a little bit pissed off. I went happy Tim Storey, Mr. Life Coach to the world, Mr. Fancy Man. Okay. I wake up and I'm a little ticked. I'm not even joking. And I could go to a wrong place. So I have to follow my own teaching.
Right.
I need to renew my own mind. I need to work on my own mentality, right? I need to make my own choices. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, is what the Bible says. And that is so true. So I got to get the right perspective and the right mindset. Okay. And rise back up. But believe me, those old thoughts try to come back in. Right. All that grieving tries to come back in.
Right. Which is, I think, which leads us full circle back to the miracle.
Yes.
Is these experiences that we have. I remember as a young girl, after my father passed away, my grandmother said, just remember one thing, the most beautiful flowers you'll ever see grow through the dirt. All flowers grow through the dirt. Keep planting the seeds, keep going, keep growing. And sure enough, I look back every day and she's 90 and I'm like, yeah, Yaya, you were right that you just keep growing no matter what.
That's very powerful, actually. We should just sit on that one for a second. The most beautiful flowers that you see grow through the
dirt.
Through the dirt. Wow. But see, me going through hardship makes me appreciate the smallest things. Like I've lived a pretty bougie life. And if you guys don't know what bougie is, look it up in the Urban Dictionary.
You bougie.
yeah, so I got to live my Beverly Hills life and all that, and have an elevator in my house and all that. But that's not what moves me.
Mhm.
I'm moved by little things. I'm moved by going to 7-Eleven and being able to afford a Slurpee. Because I remember when I was a kid and I couldn't get one. Now I could get a doggone Slurpee when I want.
What flavor?
All kinds. But I like let's say if I got the red one, whatever that
Mhm.
is.
Cherry.
So now that I'm really bougie, I'll mix it with Coke. I'll do like cherry in the bottom of the Coke.
Oh,
I'm
that's a
not
good one.
moved by Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff like that. That's never been me. I'm moved by Slurpees.
Slurpees. All right, now I know the way to your heart. Get you a Slurpee machine. Let's go.
That's it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, now I have to ask you from a perspective of self-care, because that is my specialty and what I work through and what I'm learning, just diving in every which way. You are a busy person helping and serving bazillion, I don't even know how many millions of people you have served and continue to serve. You give your time.
You give your love. How do you practice your own self-care?
Very carefully. So that is a big part of my life. So I have a trainer that's like 28 and really likes the way he looks.
Mhm.
So if he's watching, he knows that's true. So he's in great shape, and so he likes the way he looks. So I'm older than 28, and sometimes he tries to push me too far.
Mhm.
And I'll say to him, like, I'm not 28 anymore. So
Mhm.
pull it back a little bit,
Mhm.
but let's get there. So I have a trainer.
Mhm.
When COVID hit, I put a whole gym that you would be impressed with in my garage. Like it looks like state of the art, everything in my garage.
Awesome.
So I have no excuse. I just have to walk right in there. So then you see how nice my skin is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have the best people on the planet helping me with my skin. I get massage. Um, I have a therapist, and you say, Tim, why have you had a therapist for 25 years? Because I want to stay straight.
Mhm.
So there's sometimes I don't even have anything to say to the guy.
Right.
He's 73 and super good looking guy. And I go in there, we crack each other up and make jokes.
Right.
And then I still pay him a lot of money. But I do that because I got to take care of what Deepak Chopra calls the mental hygiene.
Mhm.
I got to keep myself clear.
You got to floss that.
Whoa, I never seen that move. That was good. Don't even try it again. Don't repeat it. It was that good.
One
Whoa.
time only.
Oh, that's all I want. Just that was it. So,
Ah.
so from my exercise to my food, I would say most times I eat really, really well. The other times that I don't, I just want to enjoy myself.
Yeah.
So I think I'm aging well. I'm animated. I've got energy, and I have good role models. Like Barry Gordy is 91, and he
Mhm.
looks amazing. He's 91. One of my best friends, Smokey Robinson, is 81. Okay, so I got a long way before I hit all those ages.
Right.
So yes, but all that taking care of yourself, self-care, is like has to be way up here.
Right. So you make it a priority in your life to
Has
take
to
care
be.
of all of those
I
areas, because that's the thing
sleep, I
too.
take
Right, I was
naps.
just say sleep. Yeah. Sometimes when people think of self-care, they think, okay, it just means getting a massage or going to the gym, and yet it's so much more than that. And a lot of the times it's those little things too, where it's just taking care of, even having a social life, even laughter. That's a big one, especially in the last
Social
year.
life.
Yeah.
I go to events. I like to be around humans. I like to listen. I'm a super good listener. So I like to ask creative people questions, and then I like to listen to them. I like to be around artists. I like
Mhm.
creative people. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Smokey Robinson, your BFF, one of my all-time favorites. Can you share a fun story with Smokey?
Yeah. always, because I mean that's like my real brother. So I think that one thing I love about Smokey is he's a phenomenal storyteller.
Mhm.
So if I could just take you this there real quick. So at Motown, if you Google Motown, the building, it says Hitsville, USA.
Mhm.
And so you got to imagine that Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, and Stevie Wonder could be in that little building in Detroit all at one time. So Smokey said to me that the reason it became Hitsville, USA is that when they would hear somebody's song, Marvin Gaye would be, recording something. Smokey and Stevie would come in the room and say, "That's not a hit. That's not a hit.
Mhm.
You got to make it a hit." And so they said, "Don't let anything out unless it's a hit."
Mhm.
And so, Smokey, he likes to talk like that. So anyway, he said, "I told Stevie, that's not a hit." And then Stevie would say to me, "That is a hit." And we would argue back and forth. And then we would figure out if it was a hit or not. And so many great stories about how those three giants, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, cared enough about each other to just sharpen each other until they threw out a hit.
Mhm.
And he told me that they threw out like 15 hits in a row between them because they just kept sharpening and sharpening and sharpening and sharpening each other until Tim, it was a hit. We didn't let it go out unless it was a hit. Yeah.
Yeah, there's your voiceover too. That is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. I've seen Smokey Robinson, I don't even know how many times. Smokey, Al Green, Stevie Wonder. I mean, yeah, that's Motown. I grew up with, I feel like Motown was the number one genre of music playing in our house at all
I
times.
see that.
Yeah.
It's in your DNA, it's in your
It is.
countenance, it's
It
in your
is.
turtle. See, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
it's gone into her turtle.
I
In
love
Zoe.
it.
It's gone
It's in the Zoe. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything else in regards to miracle of this life before we get to a speed round that you would like to share with anyone that's listening or watching right now?
Yeah, I would like to say this is that um, there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Do not become weary in doing good. For in the proper season, you will reap the harvest if you do not give up." So don't give up. The law of the harvest is you plow the ground, you plant the seed, then you water the seed, which is repetition, and then you reap the harvest. So don't give up. Some of you are one step away from your harvest, and payday is on its way.
Oh, mic drop. There he goes. Now, are you ready for a little fun speed round? All right. First thing that comes to your mind, just tapping into that subconscious brain here. Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
Favorite song right now?
Being with You by Smokey Robinson.
Love it. If you had any superpower, what would it be?
To fly
And where would you fly to?
to where you are.
Yes. Is there anything that you are afraid of?
Spiders.
If you could say one phrase to your younger self, what would it be?
Be patient.
That's a good one. And last but not least, do you have an incredible something that you are looking forward to this year? Anything?
Travel. Yes.
and
Travel,
And you're going to
Europe.
come to San Francisco. Where else are you going?
I'm going to San Francisco first. We're going to go to my friend Michael Mina's restaurant.
Okay, perfect. Love it.
And then I'm going to Marbella, Spain. That's my spot. I've been there like 4 times in the last 2 years. I like to go there and create things. It's a great place for me.
Create things like you're like art? Like you're going to do art?
I draw.
Oh, you do?
I draw, yes. But I'm going to create new shows. I'm working on movies. I'm working on a Broadway play. So I like to get creative there.
You are soaring.
First in San Francisco. Michael Mina's restaurant, because that's my great friend. Meet Zoe the turtle.
Love
and then
it.
Marbella.
Oh.
That's what I'm going to do.
I love it. It sounds amazing and beautiful. And to everyone and anyone that's listening and watching right now, be sure to not only follow Tim Storey on all platforms, Instagram, you're on Clubhouse and you drop gems all the time, but get his book, The Miracle Mentality. You have written how many books? 10 books, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, 10 books. And each one of them is equally as empowering, as miraculous, and as beautiful as the next. And this one really just blows everything out of the water. So to anyone that's listening, Tim, I honor you. I am sending my love and respect, and just, I can't wait to actually go to Michael Mina with you.
What an interview, though. You're so good. You brought out the shyness. I used to be shy, and now I'm not. I've been cured.
Yes!
Thank you for joining me here at What's the Word. Follow us on social media with the links on the screen, and don't forget to like and share with your friend. Your support helps us grow and continue to make inspirational content. See you next time on What's the Word.